Alright everybody, welcome on back to the Nerd Castle for the next episode of Shadowrun Hong Kong, where I am desperately trying to get these memories arrayed. What was the password for this one? Number 4 was noon. Okay. I assume that it corresponds to how old he is in each one. A current of Engram's twists and churns. As it flows past, you hack into the current, capturing a cluster of distinct memories, lumpy and fat. One of them hums loudly, calling your attention. Anticipation. The hall is long and ends at his door. He traverses the distance slowly, knowing that he's being observed by his new underlings. And there it is, newly installed, shining like a mirror on the door made from real wood. The brass nameplate. Edward Sang, Vice President of Special Projects. Pride swells within him. Having a fancy job is a pretty cool thing. Sometimes I wish I had a job that, affected stuff and, did things. I don't know. What a lot of people I think have to understand about me on YouTube is this was not, the thing that I planned on doing with my life. It just sort of happened. The things that I wanted to do, like programming and music, I failed out of spectacularly. And so it kind of sucks being, not good enough for the things you dreamed of doing and then just having to use, fallback plans for the rest of your life. So I think we have to put these in order. Young boy, young executive. Okay, so we got this. So, Engram stream file. Select one for slot 1. Raymond as a young boy. Slot 2. Raymond as a young executive. 3. Raymond as a middle-aged man. 4. Raymond as an old man. Reintegrate host. Checking Engram's Engram integration success. Host reintegration process initiated. Is that it? Are we done here? Woo! Oh my god, my heart is pounding. I beat this, so I'm playing these back to back chronologically. I kind of just stop recording, then I start recording again right after I edit the audio. And oh my god, for realsies. This was the most intense mission I've ever seen in a Shadowrun game. No lie, Hairbrain pulled out all the stops on this, and they were like, you know what we've never done in our series before? A fight that the player could potentially just spectacularly lose if they play it wrong. A fight where every single turn matters and the way that you use your stuff matters. If the entire game was like this, I don't know if I'd make it. I'd be stressed. What's inside of here? Got a premium med kit. I'm gonna go ahead and take it. Let's get our dad out of here. The clean room echoes with your footsteps as you approach the capsule containing the surgical couch. How often do you say that word? Surgical couch. My brain doesn't even know how to process those two words back to back. Through the window, you can see the last 8 years have not been kind to Raymond Black. The trauma of the last few days is readily apparent. The pasty pallor of his skin and the white growth of stubble on his chin make him appear far older than 65. He lies unconscious, his chest barely moving, his eyes sunken and his jaw slack. Carefully applied gauze dressing on his balding head surrounds a gleaming metal port, a data jack. A thin bundle of wires runs from the jack to the device mounted on the capsule wall. Oh my god. Although his voice is small, it echoes loudly throughout the clean room. Dad? Duncan. I'm here, yeah. Wu glances at you apologetically. Pop-Tart is here too. Raymond opens his eyes with a dreamy smile. Hello, Mr. Tuesday. It's good to see you. He must be disoriented from the assist reprogramming. It appears we got to him just in time. There is no time for discussion, Splattercat. We must move. We've got to go. I'm going to get you out of there. Disconnecting Raymond from the assist device proves to be straightforward, as does getting him out of the capsule and onto the clean room floor. It feels as if he barely weighs anything at all. Although his breathing is a bit erratic, Raymond seems steady enough on his feet. Lead on, Pop-Tart. I'll be right behind you. Yes, this is no time for discussion. Although if I rescued my dad, I'd be all over him. We'd be hugging and fucking crying and all kinds of shit. It'd be wild. Oh, rapid response team. Walked around the corner into that one. Okay, then. Let's dance, you beezies. We got this. Let's go ahead and keep him out of the line of fire. Get around a corner. This is for combatants only. I'm going to go ahead and take control mode right here. Okay, and so we got basic self-repair protocol. Let's get him into cover. It's unfortunate that he stopped where he did, but sometimes that's the way life goes. Go ahead and mark a target here. Get ourselves ready for the battle to come. Gaichu, I really hate to do this to you, buddy, but you're up. It's time for you to lock in that Samurai Valor. We're going to go for the 93% first. Why are you in water stance? I wanted you... No, heaven stance. 23 right there. There's the kill. On this side, not a lot of cover left. This one may be precarious until we can get into position. He's going to be able to crit from right there. Yeah, that's what I figured. Actually, move through, flank him from behind. We got this. We have the AP to make this work. Do a target locked shot. It's a little bit too low of a chance. Go for the lock shot. 9 damage right there. Very good. I know, does it take 2 or 1 to summit these? We got an elemental fetish. You know, I don't think we need it for this combat. It seems like a waste to me. I'm going to hold on to it just in case we have to fight our way out of the entire damn building. Meanwhile, I'm going to try and get her out of line of sight, but I don't know if that's going to count. She may get shot. Nade out. 10 damage to the back line. Flank. Ooh, okay. On the plus side. On the plus side. This guy is now flanked with us. I'm going to go ahead and mark him up real fast. We got a 99% over here, but we got a flank over here, which I think is a little bit more important. Let's go for the 84 right there. We need this captain out of the way. Apparently he's got supplementary grenades and all kinds of shit, and I'm worried about it. We missed a couple of shots right there. Can't really be helped. Get into cover. Get your hacks in. There you go. Killing machine. Killing machine. Oh, he's still up. It's times like these I regret my decisions. Flipping that coin just ain't coming through for us. I need her to heal Gaichu. So she's going to have to go all in real quick because 20 HP is a large amount of damage done and I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to end up getting Daddy Man taken out here. At least I would prefer it to not go like that. He's out of cover, so put rounds on him, but he appears to have pretty good dodge. May be difficult to 86 him. Okay, there's the shot. On this side, 90%. Go double crit. 38 damage right there. All that I could have asked for from my combat team. Very, very well executed. RNG was on our side and not the foes, so that's really, really good. Let's make our way to the elevator. We're going to have to fight our way all the way out of here. Do we have an extraction plan? What was our extraction plan here? I'm a fan of the on-the-roof rigger flying a helicopter, guns blazing with like miniguns, strafing everything with fire. That's my favorite. Alarms blare as you hustle Raymond from the special projects section of Prosperity Tower, but you encounter no resistance. Raymond unsteadily gropes his way through the corridors of the corporate headquarters, holding onto your elbow for support. Occasionally, the old man fingers the gauze dressing on his head with his free hand, wincing when he touches a tender patch. Tense minutes pass between the time you exit the building and enter the MTR station. Oh, we get to escape! The team remains on high alert, scanning the streets and buildings for signs of saying security forces until, like a stream of cockroaches, you scuttle underground into the cool safety of the mass transit tunnels. You pay the fare, grab Raymond, and make your way to the subway platform, the sound of the old man's ragged breathing loudly rushing past your ear. Seconds tick slowly while you wait for the subway train to arrive. Well, we didn't get the dirt for Chang. I don't think we could have gotten into that door anyways. I checked all the networks and everything in between episodes and whatnot, so... I think it's because we scared off all the employees. I think you can talk to them if you talk your way in. The team hustles Raymond into a subway car, quietly taking up defensive positions and scoping the platform for signs of pursuit. The old man is unsteady on his feet but insists on standing under his own power. He grabs a railing and holds on with white knuckles as the train lurches forward. A group of tourists sits nearby, staring at him and exchanging meaningful glances. Your crew looks over the old man with the bandage on the back of his head, exchanging meaningful expressions. Raymond squints at the odd group surrounding him, but his nod indicates he understands that he is among friends. Wu drags his goggles off of his head, bending his knees to get a better look at his foster father. A tangled knot of relief, compassion, resentment, and hurt churns across the younger man's face as he wrestles with his confused emotions. Fear for his father's health overcomes them all. Raymond, are you all right? Little man? You called your dad little man? That's a little weird. It's a little condescending. I fought against the reprogramming. Wow, he don't look so good. The old man's voice is little more than a soft croak. His eyes are sunken and surrounded by dark circles. His mother's medical technology must be amazing. It's hard to believe he's walking under his own power so soon after the surgery. Yeah, well, Grandma's an amazing woman. Her high-tech brain surgery, her ownership of the cops, her execution of my partner and those runners. Wu's face hardens and stands up straight, glaring down at the older man. Oh, and the way she had the plastic-faced man snatch her own son. Amazing woman. She's a real piece of work. No doubt about it. Yeah, tell me about it. Apparently her son is, too. Pain and bitterness drip from Wu's deep, raspy voice. This man, whoever he is, has a lot of explaining to do. You ready to start telling us the truth, Edward? The old man tilts his head up to the orc towering above him, and although exhausted, his jaw sets firm. Yes, Duncan. I'm ready to tell you everything. I had planned to explain it all when you arrived in Hong Kong. Yeah, our meeting was postponed due to kidnapping and murder. The old man's mouth purses, his lips quiver for a moment, and he regains control. I never believed it would come to that, and that my mother was capable of... He allows the thought to remain unfinished. The old man leans back on the wall of the subway car and gathers his thoughts. He seems to swoon for a moment, but then inhales deeply, swallows hard, and pulls himself erect. Everybody likes to pull themselves erect. My name is Edward Sang. I'm the only son of Josephine Sang, the CEO of Sang Mechanical Services, heir to the company. Before I left Hong Kong, I was the vice president of special projects, the up-and-coming star of the company. If you were the golden boy, why did you leave? Raymond frowns as if the taste of the words are bitter in his mouth. My division was shut down and disbanded. One of my projects failed. Prosperity. Something you've never seen before washes over the tired old man's face. Shame. You've heard of it. Prosperity. I see. Raymond takes a deep breath. The labored croak of his voice drops to a monotone. I was part of a project my mother envisioned to rebuild Kowloon Walled City. A waking neighborhood for underprivileged citizens, fully integrated, with job training programs, co-op childcare, drug counseling centers. It was a new approach to low-income housing in the East, the springboard to prosperity for hundreds of thousands. Yeah, that doesn't sound like the place I grew up in. Raymond is 20 years away and doesn't seem to hear her. Mother personally oversaw every aspect of the project to ensure that every detail was executed properly. Chose each project manager herself, chaired regular status meetings with architects, builders, visited the work site for surprise inspections. She was driven to make her renewed, revitalized walled city a success. So what was it, another low-income housing project? No, the walled city wasn't the prosperity project. Raymond covers his eyes with a liver-spotted hand, the dread radiating from him like the stink of decayed meat. Prosperity was something that I built at the center of the walled city. His hand drops and his eyes roll back in his head and his face goes slack. A moment later, an invisible grip takes hold of your chest, constricts it, squeezing the air from your lungs. Your vision grays from the edges and the world surges backwards, leaving you suspended in the distance on the periphery of reality. Something is hurtling towards you, approaching from the fringe of your mind like a bullet train. It screams ahead, closer and closer, until it is upon you, overwhelming you with its presence. And then nothing. Silence. Until a scream pierces your consciousness and pulls you screaming to its source. You're back in the walled city, the city of darkness. Your mind wrenches, inverts, and then violently jerks back into your skull. Your stomach cramps hard and the taste of bile burns your throat. A thin trickle of cold sweat slides down the small of your back and your eyes refuse to focus. Your crew fares no better. Gobbet pulls herself from the floor, madness and folly squeaking worriedly in the folds of her clothing. Isabel grips a railing, her back to the group, retching silently. Wu breathes deeply, his hands on his knees. That wasn't a dream. He shakes his head like a lion's mane and spits on the floor. That was something else. Gobbet's breathing is shallow. She's covered in a thin sheen of sweat. It was a vision. I saw some sort of machine inside the walled city. Isabel turns, squinting in concentration. Her lips are white. It was churning something. It felt wrong and impossible. I think it was ripping, but I don't know. Reality. The orc girl shudders. It was ripping a hole in reality. I believe we've just fallen in over our heads. Wu straightens up, drawing the back of a wrist across his mouth. What the hell was that, Raymond? No answer. Wu spins to find Raymond cowering, his head in his hands, shuddering and weeping. She's here. Breathe, Raymond. Breathe. She shouldn't have waited, or we shouldn't have waited. Shouldn't have hid. He looks up at you with bloodshot eyes. She's here. The queen with 1,000 teeth. Raymond rocks in place, hugging himself, starting past you. It's someone only he can see. I left prosperity in there. I left prosperity in there. I left prosperity in there. Uh-oh. Looks like Raymond's gone bye-bye. Shh, Gobbet! She administers her admonishment. Take it easy, Raymond. You're with me. Pop-Tart. The old man looks at you as if seeing you for the first time. Pop-Tart. You came. Raymond blinks his eyes open, his voice weak, hesitant, disconnected somehow. Are we in the subway? The right corner of his mouth twitches noticeably. Why is he stuttering? He's not. I used to stutter, and this doesn't sound like a stutter to me. Something else is going on. It could be the visions. Could be the aborted brain surgery or some combination of the two. Hell, he could have been having a stroke. Something bad is happening. It began a long time ago, and I'm responsible. His eyes open wide. The queen, prosperity. The queen with 1,000 teeth. These dreams, visions, they've been coming to you for a long time, haven't they? Yes. Oh, yes, I've been plagued by nightmares for a long time. Raymond's lips begin to tremble. Began years ago, sporadically at first. Vague dreams wrapped tight with guilt and shame. Raymond's eyes roll back in his head and he closes them tightly. Until this last year when he searches for the word. The frequency began to increase. The imagery clarified. Started to repeat. Teeth, thousands of teeth. He sways for a moment, dizzy, and the sounds of suffering began to drown out even my waking thoughts. That's when I knew I had to come back. To do what? To correct the mistake I made a long time ago. He puts his hand out and steadies himself on Wu's arm. It's my fault. Prosperity. All those people. The poor people. Wait. Prosperity Project? Shame eclipses his face. You know? About prosperity? Yeah, sort of. Wu's tone gets a little sharper. We've already covered this, Raymond. We know that it's in the center of the walled city and that Edward Sang built it. And we have Edward Sang here to explain the whole thing, right, Edward? Edward, yes. That's me. Edward Sang is Raymond Black. I know, I can explain. The beginning, sometime in the 20s, my mother was awarded he searches for the word. The contract. The contract to rebuild the housing development in the walled city. Well, from the results, I'd say your mom kind of blew it. Prosperity failed. Frustration appears in the old man's tired eyes. Well, I told you the walled city wasn't Prosperity Project. Prosperity was the fortune engine that I built at the center of the walled city. My special project. Fortune engine? What are you talking about? He sneers. You can't create fortune, Raymond. You kinda can, gun show. Some practitioners of feng shui believe they can do it. Feng shui. Ever heard of the Bagua of 8 aspirations? He looks at Gobbet flatly. No, Gobbet, I must have missed school that day. Keep going, I want to hear this. She wrinkles her nose at Wu. It's no feng shui. The masters of the craft can map the flow of ki and how it corresponds to different aspects in somebody's life. Fame, relationships, creativity, inner knowledge, health, fortune. That's 6. I thought you said there were 8. She shrugs. I don't remember the other 2, but one of them was definitely fortune. She looks sidelong at Raymond. What does your fortune engine do? The fortune engine was designed to improve the balance of ki in a negative ki environment. A negative ki environment? Somewhat shitty. Like a slum. Raymond corrects her, like a low-income housing project. I believe that with the fortune engine, the rebuilt walled city might never become a slum. He drifts off for a moment, remembering, and then he squeezes his eyes shut and lowers his head. But the machine, it malfunctioned. Malfunction? How? The mechanism I created to circulate negative ki in the walled city. He brings a liver-spotted hand to his mouth. It, got stuck. Stuck on what? Raymond rises slowly, pulling himself from a crumpled heap. His tone turns instructive. The old Raymond, but this time his explanation is halting and weary. Think of the fortune engine as a propeller blade moving through astral space. It circulates ki and keeps it. He hunts for the word. Keeps it fresh. When ki flows, when the rhythm is right, the results are positive. Fortuitous. When I brought my design for the fortune engine to my mother, she embraced it. Exhales. She more than embraced it. She bankrolled it, put an entire division of Sang Mechanical under me to develop it. Sounds like a big bet. He nods rapidly. The biggest of her career. Mother said that if the machine could bring fortune to the less fortunate, it would prove my theory. And if it could help the poor, imagine what a fortune engine could do for Josephine Sang. His jaw clenches, but that's not what happened, was it? Something went wrong. The people in the walled city didn't benefit from your fortune engine, did they, Raymond? He bows his head and doesn't answer. What went wrong, Raymond? It got stuck. He grabs his head with both hands and squeezes his eyes shut. The mechanism that I created to circulate the negative key in the walled city, it got stuck. You can see Wu's patience blowing away like autumn leaves in high wind. He rubs his head viciously in frustration. Stuck on what, Raymond? The old man gets a confused look on his face. His lips move soundlessly for several moments. Wu leans in close and drops to a whisper and seethes in his foster father's face. Stuck on what? Raymond winces at Wu's tone and stumbles back a step, but it does the job and the old man focuses. Something in astral space. I wasn't sure what. Oh, that sounds bad. The machine started pooling negative key. The old man's breathing begins to accelerate, and the walled city started to feel with it. Fortunes turned bad. I've been in places where the feng shui was really bad. That's not what I felt when I was in the walled city. No, ki needs to flow. Eventually, the enormous pool of negative ki became toxic. Fortunes turned from bad to worse, much worse. Raymond's shoulders slump. Mother's vision for a rebuilt, revitalized walled city fell to ruin. It only took a few years for the trapped toxic ki to turn a brand new housing development into a hellish slum. So why didn't you just turn it off? I couldn't. Something happened. Part of the malfunction. We couldn't turn it off. So why didn't you blow it up, wrap it in C6, and turn it into a scrap heap? Mother refused. Wu's tone turns icy cold. Why? I never found out, but she wouldn't tell me. She would only say that it wasn't worth spending the additional resources to figure out how to fix it or even turn it off. Words start spilling out of the old man. She sealed off a maintenance room. Our engineers poured a sarcophagus of thick concrete around it so nobody would ever find it, and could never find out what we did. Then she wrote the entire project off as a business loss and moved on like nothing had ever happened, right? Yes. His face flushes as he fidgets with the gauze bandage on his head. After that, I left Hong Kong and started a new life in Seattle and found you two. You should have stayed and tried to do something about it, he grimaces, disappointed. You were a coward, Raymond. Yes. Raymond stands up straight and takes a shaky step towards Wu. Yes, Duncan. I was a coward. And the guilt, the burden of my cowardice gripped me like a vice that never loosened. It's eaten me from the inside for 20 years. He licks his lip and tries to breathe. When the nightmares began, they were horrible. Still, I kept working on the problem, night and day. Did you figure out how to stop it? It took me years, even after you left, to make the connections and find what to do. But I did. I figured it out. And still, the nightmares intensified until they became unbearable. I knew I had to come back and fix what I had done, and that's why I contacted you to help me see it, though. Through. Wu mumbles something, but all you can make out is the word coward. So wait, there's still a piece missing. What's causing the visions we're all having? His voice flattens. When the machine malfunctioned, when the circulator became stuck in astral space, it lodged in another domain. He sways and his lips begin to tremble. Something happened, and something lived there. Not good. The old man begins to drift. For 20 years of constant force, the circulator finally began tearing astral space and create a rupture in her domain. He rocks in place. And now she's pushed through. Now she's pushed through. Now she's pushed through. Yeah, she's pushing through all right. He snarls at his foster father. The queen with 1,000 fucking teeth. The thing you brought here, Raymond. Raymond stops rocking and becomes fully lucid and snaps back to Wu. I understand that, Mr. Wu, which is why I came back. I believe she is only partially here. She hasn't pushed all the way through yet. She's probing for new hunting ground. The emotional strain of his snap at Wu rattles him again. I know what to do now. How to extract the circulator and shut the machine down before she can fully manifest. Just get me to the center of the walled city, to the fortune engine, and I'll do the rest. Please, help me. Help them. You helped us overcome some hairy mistakes when we were kids, Ray. Now we're gonna help you fix yours. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can go back in there. The little Decker's eyes open wide, more white than Iris. Her breathing becomes faster and shallower. It's not a thing in there, Splattercat. It's a Yama King. A demon goddess. We're trapped, We can't run, and believe me, I want to. It's all I've been thinking of. The rat shaman's shoulders rise with tension. But the APB out on us in those visions, I got a feeling they're not going to stop unless we make them stop. And that fragile old man's the only way to do it. She looks down at her friend, her voice is gentle. We have to take him there, We have to help him fix this. Guy Shu's face remains impassive, but his eyelids lower in anticipation. I have the opportunity to kill a god. I cannot allow the opportunity to pass unanswered. Whose voice drops to a mumble. I hate this fucking country. I hate this life. Pop-Tart is right. We owe you, Raymond, and I'm not walking away from that. I'll help you fix your mess or die trying, but then we'll be even. He stares evenly at Raymond, his voice cold. I'm no coward. Jesus, family business. Fear grips the people streaming from inside the walled city. The storm isn't a typhoon. It's something else. My name is Splattercat. I will see you all next time. Hi, do everybody. Check the game out down below if you want to get it for yourself. It's intensifying.